the casket lowered into the earth with a mechanical whine that echoed like a final, unforgiving sigh. Rain pelted the mourners' black umbrellas in the sprawling cemetery outside Chicago, turning the grass to mud that clung to polished shoes like regret. And then, as the family dispersed like smoke from a dying fire, Aunt Karen snatched the antique oak dresser, Grandma's prized possession, muttering about practicality, while Nicholas stood frozen, his heart splintering as the last piece of her world vanished into a van. He'd always been the invisible one, the grandson tucked into corners at family gatherings, nursing a beer while cousins boasted about wives and promotions. Gay in a clan that whispered choice like a curse, Nicholas had learned to smile through the side eyes. The Bible verses slipped into birthday cards. But Grandma? She'd wink across the turkey platter, slip him a 20 with a scribbled note. Buy yourself something fierce, Nicky. Now she was gone. And so was everything else, until the lawyer's envelope crinkled in his rain-soaked pocket. Its contents a grenade, a one-way ticket to San Francisco and a key to a suitcase hidden in her attic, labeled in her looping script. For the boy who dares to dream. Nicholas drove the old Ford pickup through the night, the ticket clutched in his fist like a talisman against the rearview mirror's glare of fading taillights from the family caravan. Chicago's sprawl gave way to endless Indiana cornfields, silvered by moonlight, and he cranked the radio to drown out the ache, a scratchy country station crooning about lost loves and wide-open roads. He'd left without goodbyes, just a text to his sister, taking a break. Don't worry, lies, all of it. Worry was the family's currency, spent freely on him since he'd come out at 17. Dad's face crumpling like wet paper as he muttered, "This ain't us, son." The suitcase waited in Grandma's attic, a relic from her wilder days, leather cracked like old skin, brass latches tarnished but unyielding. He'd pried it open under the single bare bulb, dust motes dancing like ghosts, and found not just faded photographs but a Pandora's box of her secrets. Yellowed letters from a lover named Evelyn, postmarked from Greenwich Village in the 50s. Words like, "My darling, the city lights hide our sins but illuminate our souls." Tucked beneath was a deed to a tiny apartment in the Castro, San Francisco's beating gay heart. And that ticket Amtrak, departing dawn. Go where the fog kisses the sea. Nicky, her final note read, inked with trembling hand. Your heart's too big for this flatland cage. By dawn, the train station loomed, a Beaux-Arts behemoth exhaling steam like a dragon rousing from sleep. Nicholas boarded with the suitcase chained to his wrist. This weight a anchor and a wingsuit all at once. The club car rattled westward, passengers a mosaic of weary travelers. A businessman tapping his phone, a mother corralling toddlers with goldfish crackers. He claimed a window seat, the Mississippi blurring past in chocolate waves, and let the letters spill across his lap. Grandma's confessions unfurled like a forbidden novel. Evelyn, the jazz singer with a laugh like champagne bubbles. Stolen weekends in smoky bars where hands brushed under tables. Hearts raced in code. We were outlaws in love, she'd written. But love don't bow to laws. Hours melted into the Rockies' jagged teeth, snow-capped and indifferent. Nicholas dozed fitfully. Dreams laced with family barbecues turned inquisitions. Uncle Ray's booming, "Pray it away, boy," clashing with Grandma's defiant arm around his shoulders. He woke to the conductor's call, "Salt Lake next, salt of the earth," his mother used to say, but the earth had salted his wounds too deep. By Reno, the desert baked the air golden. Slot machines jangle filtering from casinos like false promises. He ate a stale sandwich, watched gamblers chase ghosts of fortune, and wondered if he was doing the same, chasing a dead woman's ghost across a continent. San Francisco greeted him with a chill fog that wrapped his bones like a shroud. The bay's salt tang sharp as betrayal's aftertaste. The BART train clattered underground to the Castro, streets alive with rainbow flags snapping in the breeze like defiant prayers. He emerged onto Castro Street, the suitcase bumping his calf, and felt the pulse. Men in leather vests laughing outside a cafe, a mural of Harvey Milk gazing down with eyes that said, "You're home. Kid, now fight for it." The apartment key fit the lock of a narrow Victorian row house. Third floor walk-up with bay windows framing the city's electric hum. Inside, it smelled of lavender sachets and neglect, faded floral wallpaper, a Murphy bed folded like origami, a kitchenette with a hot plate scarred from forgotten suppers. He collapsed onto the threadbare rug, suitcase yawning open again. Among the letters, a final envelope. "Read this when doubt creeps in." Grandma's voice leaped from the page. "Nikki, I lost Evelyn to fear mine. Mostly. We could have built a life here, but I ran back to Flatlands and a husband who never knew me. Don't you dare run. The suitcase holds my regrets. Let it hold your courage." Tears blurred the ink, hot and unbidden. For the first time since the funeral, Nicholas laughed. A raw, guttural sound because here, in this stranger's nest, he wasn't the family pariah. He was just possible. That first week blurred into a haze of exploration and unraveling. Mornings, he'd brew coffee black as midnight on the hot plate, sip it on the fire escape watching the neighborhood stir. Joggers in neon tanks, baristas chalking specials on blackboards, Pride latte extra foam, zero shame. Afternoons, he'd wander the labyrinth of thrift shops and bookstores, fingers trailing spines of Ginsberg and Baldwin, their words a balm on old scars. Evenings brought the real test, Twin Peaks Tavern, a dive with sticky floors and walls papered in faded posters of circuit parties long past. He nursed a gin and tonic, the burn steadying his nerves as eyes flicked his way, curious, praising, alive. It was there, on night 3, that Tyler appeared like a storm front rolling in off the Pacific. Tall, with sun-bleached curls tumbling over a flannel shirt rolled to elbows veined like river maps. He slid onto the stool beside Nicholas, ordering a whiskey neat with a voice like gravel wrapped in velvet. "New in town?" Tyler asked, green eyes crinkling at the corners, a dimple flashing like a secret. Nicholas stammered something about a fresh start, the suitcase a talisman he didn't mention. They talked for hours. Tyler, a graphic designer who'd fled a toxic ex in Seattle. Nicholas spilling fragments of Chicago winters and family frost. By closing time, Tyler's hand brushed his under the bar, electric as lightning, and Nicholas felt the fog lift. Just a little. Their first real date was a picnic in Dolores Park. Hipsters sprawled on blankets like colorful debris after a parade. Tyler unpacked falafel wraps and craft IPAs, his laugh booming when Nicholas confessed his terror of sourdough, San Francisco's holy grail. Apparently, "It's just bread with attitude," Tyler teased, feeding him a bite, thumb lingering on his lip. They kissed as the sun dipped, slow and exploratory, Tyler's stubble rasping like sandpaper on silk. Nicholas's heart hammered. This was desire unapologetic. No shadows of shame. Back at the apartment, clothes shed like old skins, bodies mapping uncharted territories under the slanted ceiling. Tyler's whispers, "You're beautiful, Nick, like you were carved from the coast," drew moans from depths Nicholas didn't know he had. But dawn brought the first crack. Tyler's phone buzzed incessantly. A name flashing, Mark X. He silenced it with a curse, rolling away to light a cigarette out the window. Old baggage, he muttered, smoke curling like evasion. Nicholas pressed, gentle as a tide, and Tyler cracked open. Mark, the financier who'd promised forever, then fled when Tyler's freelance gigs dried up, leaving debts and a foreclosed loft. He called me a leech once, Tyler said, voice hollow. Said love don't pay bills. Nicholas held him then, suitcase letters whispering in his mind. Love's outlaws, indeed. They vowed honesty, sealed with coffee and promises. But Nicholas couldn't shake the echo, Grandma's warning about running from fear. Weeks wove into a rhythm, mornings tangled in sheets, Tyler sketching logos on napkins while Nicholas job hunted, landing shifts at a queer bookstore called The Bound Word. Shelves groaned under tomes of queer history, from Stonewall manifestos to Ronaldo Arena's fevered prose. Customers became lifelines, drag queens hawking zines, elders sharing war stories of raids and rights. Tyler fit seamlessly, crashing readings with takeout burritos, his designs adorning event flyers in bold sans serif strokes. They hiked the headlands one weekend, ocean crashing below like applause, Tyler's hand firm in his as seals barked from rocks. This is it, man, Tyler said, breath fogging the salt air. You and me against the fog. Yet the suitcase lingered, a sentinel in the corner, its contents spilling secrets that bound Nicholas tighter to Grandma's ghost. One letter detailed her final fight with Evelyn, a tearful airport goodbye, Evelyn boarding a flight to Paris alone because society's chains are heavier than love's wings. Nicholas read it aloud to Tyler one rainy night, voice breaking on the French postmark. Tyler pulled him close, murmuring, "She gave you the key we all need out." But as thunder rumbled, Nicholas glimpsed Tyler's phone again. A text peeking, "We need to talk. Miss you. M." He swallowed the question, chalking it to paranoia, but the seed rooted. Family intrusions began as postcards. Mom's cursive pleas, "Come home, Nicky. Dad misses his boy. We can fix this phase. The word festered like an untreated wound. Then calls, Aunt Karen's voice syrupy sharp. "That old bat's nonsense, running off to fairyland? Sell the place. Get real." Nicholas hung up, heart pounding, and Tyler found him curled on the fire escape, rain mingling with tears. "They're vultures," Tyler said, wrapping him in a blanket. "But you're an eagle now." They made love fiercely that night, reclaiming the space. But Nicholas dreamed of the funeral mud, the dresser vanishing, and woke with Tyler's arm heavy across his chest, like a chain, not a comfort. By month's end, the betrayal brewed unseen. Tyler's gigs picked up, a contract with a startup in the Mission, late nights at lofts with craft beer and code. Nicholas worked doubles, stacking Kerouac beside RuPaul Bios, the tills chime a metronome to his budding normalcy. One evening, closing up, he spotted Tyler across the street at a cafe, laughing with a suited man, Mark, unmistakably, from the Instagram stalk Nicholas had shamefully indulged. They hugged, lingering, and Nicholas's stomach twisted like a knife in fog. He waited up, feigning sleep, and when Tyler slipped in at 2 a.m., reeking of cologne not his own, the lie hung thick as the air. The confrontation simmered through breakfast, eggs scorching in the pan as Nicholas gripped the spatula like a lifeline. Tyler chattered about the client meeting, his curls still damp from a shower that smelled suspiciously fresh, but Nicholas's eyes bored into the suitcase, its latches mocking him with silence. "Who was he?" he finally asked, voice steady as a fault line before the quake. Tyler froze, fork midway to mouth, green eyes widening like a doe in headlights. "Just business, babe." Mark's connected, helps with intros. The name dropped casual as confetti, but Nicholas saw the flicker, the telltale twitch of a jaw clenched against truth. They danced around it for days. Tyler's charm a smokescreen of rooftop sunsets and stolen kisses in alleyways scented with garlic from Ticarius. Nicholas threw himself into the bookstore, recommending Audre Lorde's essays to wide-eyed teens, their gratitude a salve on his fraying edges. "You're changing lives here," his boss, a silver-haired dyke named Rita with tattoos of fists raised, told him over closing shifts. "Queer kids need mirrors, not masks," fueled him, that purpose. But nights alone, Tyler's networking stretching longer, brought the letters out again. Grandma's words on betrayal. Evelyn swore fidelity, but fears a sharper blade. "Trust your gut. Nikki, it's the compass I lost." The gut twisted hardest at the Pride preview party. Harvey Milk Plaza buzzing with early revelers in fishnets and face paint. Air electric with anticipation. Tyler had insisted, "Our first Pride together legendary." They arrived arm in arm. Nicholas in a thrifted vest embroidered with rainbows. Tyler's flannel unbuttoned to reveal a chest dusted with freckles like constellations. The crowd swallowed them. Drag brunches spilling onto sidewalks. Vendors hawking buttons that read, "Love wins, but fight anyway." They danced to a DJ spinning Gloria Gaynor remixes. Bodies slick with sweat. Tyler's hands roaming possessive. For a stolen hour, Nicholas believed the lie, lost in the thrum of bass and belonging. Then, across the throng, Mark materialized, tall, polished in chinos and a polo that screamed venture capital. His arm slung casual around Tyler's waist in a photo booth frame Rita shoved their way. "Smile for the gram," she crowed, oblivious. Flash popped, capturing the fracture. Tyler's grin strained, Nicholas's eyes shadowed. Later, in the crush of Market Street, Mark cornered them outside a leather shop, champagne flute in hand. "Ty, buddy, this your new muse?" His gaze raked Nicholas, appraising like livestock, and Tyler laughed too loud. "Nah, Nick's the real deal. Chicago transplant, fierce heart." Mark's handshake lingered, clammy, whispering to Tyler as Nicholas feigned interest in a display of harnesses. "Call me. That pitch, gold if we tweak it." The ride home on the Enjuta was silent, fog smearing the windows like blurred regrets. Tyler tried bridge building. "He's just an old flame, snuffed out." "You know that." Nicholas stared at the suitcase in the corner. Evelyn's letters a siren call. "Flames leave scars, Ty. And yours look fresh." The fight erupted in the kitchenette, words flying like shrapnel. Tyler's defensiveness a wall of "you're paranoid," projecting your family crap, slicing deep. Nicholas hurled back, "At least my family's honest in their hate." "You're ghosting me with ghosts." Tyler stormed out, door slamming like a guillotine, leaving Nicholas to crumple against the fridge, sobs racking him until dawn's light pierced the blinds. Reconciliation came halting. Tyler's texts a barrage. "I'm sorry. Coffee, please." They met at a No Valley diner. Formica tables sticky with syrup ghosts. Tyler's eyes red-rimmed under those curls. Mark's dangling a lifeline, Big payout for the startup designs. I need it, Nick. We're scraping by. Vulnerability cracked his armor. Tails tumbling. The eviction notice from Seattle. Couchsurfing through winters. Mark's rescues, laced with control. He makes me feel small, but solvent. You make me feel alive. Nicholas softened. Hand over Tyler's. The diner's jukebox crooning Patsy Cline like a truce. No more secrets, he whispered. Promise. Tyler nodded, sealing it with a kiss tasting of bacon grease and hope. But secrets fester like untreated wounds in the city's damp underbelly. Nicholas dove deeper into the bound word, organizing a reading series, Suitcases and Secrets, Queer Ancestors Speak, drawing elders to share stories under string lights. One night, a woman named Dolores, wiry and white-haired with a voice like smoked oak, clutched a photo of her partner from the 70s. We hid in plain sight, but the hiding hollowed us. Her words echoed Grandma's. And afterward, Tyler lingered in the stacks, flipping through a volume of Oscar Wilde trials. Your Gran sounds like a warrior, he said, pulling Nicholas into a shadowed aisle for a kiss that bruised with need. Family tendrils snaked in via email. Dad's curt missive, forwarded from the lawyer. Estates settled. Your inheritance, sell it. Come home before you embarrass us further. Embarrass. The word ignited a bonfire in Nicholas's chest. He drafted replies unsent, rants about love's legitimacy, Grandma's legacy as queer compass, but deleted them, channeling fury into flyers for the series. Tyler noticed the shift. Their nights turning tender. Slow dances in the living room to Coltrane records scavenged from thrift bins. Tyler's fingers tracing the suitcase's scars like Braille. This thing's our third wheel, he joked one evening, but his eyes held weight, unspoken. The crack widened at a gallery opening in Soma. Tyler's designs projected on warehouse walls in neon loops, abstract hearts fracturing into code. Nicholas arrived late, shifts running over, to find Tyler deep in conversation with Mark. Their heads bent close over a tablet, laughter bubbling like champagne. Jealousy surged, hot and irrational, propelling him forward. Hey, he said, voice slicing the air. Mark turned, smile oily. The muse, Ty's been raving. Tyler's hand found his waist. Possessive, but Nicholas shrugged it off. The room's pulse, clinking glasses, indie electronica, mocking his turmoil. Outside, in the alley's chill, words erupted again. He's in your orbit like a planet you can't escape, Nicholas accused, breath fogging. Tyler's face crumpled. It's work, Nick. Survival. Survival, a word weaponized, echoing Mark's manipulations. They cabbed home in silence, the fight dissolving into desperate sex, bodies colliding like waves on jagged rocks. Afterward, Tyler confessed fragments, Mark's loans, the interest compounding like debt's dark magic. I hate needing him. But without. Nicholas silenced him with a kiss, but sleep evaded, the suitcase's letters rustling in his mind like conspirators. Autumn deepened, leaves in Golden Gate Park turning crimson as blood money. Nicholas's series gained traction, a local paper profiling it, From Flatlands to Freedom, a grandson's queer odyssey, with a photo of him beside the suitcase, its contents artfully arranged. The article went viral in niche circles, shares rippling through queer feeds, but so did family backlash. Sister's call, voice trembling, Dad saw it. He's cutting you off. Nikki. Says you're spitting on her grave. Grave robbing. More like. Their greed for the house. The furniture. Now extended to his soul. Tyler was there that night. Takeout Thai steaming on the coffee table. But his phone lit up mid-bite. Deals on. Dinner tomorrow? Nicholas's fork clattered. Survival again? The room tilted. Accusations flying. Tyler's tears genuine. Please Raw. I love you. Damn it. This is temporary. Temporary. Like grandma's phase with Evelyn. Love deferred to safer shores. Nicholas packed a bag. Not the suitcase but a duffel. Crashing at Rita's couch in the hate. Boys, she sighed. Pouring chamomile. Love's a battlefield. But don't let it bury you. Days blurred into a fog thicker than the city's own. Nicholas manned the store on autopilot, recommending Baldwin's Giovanni's Room to a customer whose eyes mirrored his own hollows. Tyler's texts pleaded, "Come home." I'll end it with Mark, but doubt gnawed. A rat in the walls. Then, the climax brewed. A package arrived, unmarked, containing a manila envelope. Printouts of Tyler's emails to Mark. Intimate. Damning. Miss our nights. Nick sweet. But you get me. Attached note. Anonymous. Truth hurts less than lies. The emails burned like acid in Nicholas's veins. Each line a fresh incision. Tyler's casual degradations. Nick's got heart, but no hustle. Juxtaposed with promises to Mark of reigniting what we had. He confronted Tyler at the apartment. The duffel slung over his shoulder like armor. The anonymous note crumpled in his fist. Tyler's face drained of color. Curls disheveled from a frantic search. Who sent that? It's twisted. Out of context. But the evidence stacked like a house of cards in a gale. Emails timestamped during their honest phase. Pillow talk turned perfidy. The fight raged through the Victorians' creaking floors. Voices echoing down the stairwell until a neighbor banged a broom. Tap, tap, tap like a judge's gavel. Tyler begged on knees. Green eyes flooded. I was scared. Okay. Mark's safety net. You're the dream. Don't make me choose. I choose you. Nicholas's heart warred. Love's pull against betrayal's shove. Grandma's letters a chorus in his skull. Fear hollows the boldest hearts. He left anyway. The doors click a guillotine's fall. Wandering Castro's neon veins until a dive bar's neon open sign beckoned like a siren's call. There, amid peanut shells and drag trivia nights, he drowned in cheap well whiskey. Strangers' flirtations a numb distraction. A twink with blue-streaked hair bought him around, whispering, "Rough night? We've all got scars." Nicholas nodded, spilling fragments, not the suitcase, not Tyler, but the raw ache of trust torched. Dawn found him on a bench in Corona Heights, city sprawling below like a lover's discarded map, fog veiling the wounds. Rita collected him, her old Volvo rumbling like a maternal growl. Crash at mine till you sort it. And kid, betrayal's the tuition for wisdom. Work became sanctuary. The bookstore's shelves a labyrinth of empathy. Customers sensed his fracture, pressing dog-eared copies of Fun Home into his hands. Alison Bechdel gets the mess of it, one said, or The Velvet Rage, tales of gay men's emotional odysseys. Nicholas hosted the next reading. Theme fractured promises, drawing a crowd that spilled onto the sidewalk. Dolores returned, her voice steady as she read from a journal. He left for a better life. I stayed, building mine from shards. Applause thundered, and in the Q&A, a young man asked Nicholas, "How do you rebuild after?" He paused, suitcase metaphor surfacing. You unpack the pain, letter by letter, and repack with grace. Tyler haunted the periphery. Flowers at the store, voicemails cracking with contrition. I ended it. For real. Meet me at the pier. Nicholas deleted them, but the pull tugged like undertow. Family piled on via a care package. Mom's quilt. Embroidered with home is where the heart is, and a check for your return ticket. We love you, phase or not. Phase. He shredded it, scattering confetti over the bay from Baker Beach, waves claiming the pieces like absolution. But isolation clawed, pride loomed, the city's heartbeat swelling, and he dreaded dancing solo in the throng. The turning point crashed in like a rogue wave. A call from Chicago, Uncle Ray, voice gruff over static. Your ma's bad, Nikki. Heart thing. Come say goodbye. Panic surged. Train tickets booked in frenzy. Suitcase dragged from dust. Tyler appeared at the station unbidden. Curls windswept. Eyes pleading. Let me come. As a friend. Nicholas relented. The Amtrak sway a reluctant cocoon. The ride east was torture. Small talk skimming depths. Tyler's hand hovering but unmet. I fucked up, Tyler whispered over bad diner coffee in Omaha. Mark was escape, not anchor. You're the horizon. Nicholas turned to the window, prairies blurring, heart a battlefield of forgiveness and fury. Mom's hospital room smelled of bleach and wilted lilies, her frail form dwarfed by monitors beeping like accusatory clocks. Dad paced the hall, mustache twitching, avoiding Nicholas's gaze. Didn't think you'd show, he grunted. Inside, Mom's eyes lit weakly. My boy, no sermons, just a hand squeeze, her wedding ring cool against his knuckles. Tyler waited outside, a silent sentinel, fetching vending machine cokes without fanfare. That night, in a motel off I-90, Tyler broke. Full confession. Mark's manipulations laid bare. Loans as leashes. Sex as strings. I stayed because it was easy. You're the hard, beautiful truth. The vigil stretched. Mom stabilizing in fits and starts. Family orbiting like wary moons. Aunt Karen cornered Nicholas in the cafeteria. This lifestyle, it's killing her. You know, he fired back. Voice steel. No. Ma's dying from silence. Grandma taught me to speak mine. Dad overheard. Face thunderous. But later, in the parking lot under sodium lamps, he muttered, she loved you fierce. Me? I tried. A crumb. But Nicholas took it. The suitcase's weight a reminder. Legacies aren't linear. Mom rallied enough for discharge. Her release a fragile victory. Nicholas lingered a week, mending fences in fits. Dinners where Dad passed the potatoes without grace, but without barbs. Tyler proved steadfast, charming the nurses with sketches of cartoon stethoscopes. His presence a bridge Nicholas hadn't known he needed. On the train west, plains giving way to mountains, they talked real, boundaries, therapy apps, no more mark-shaped shadows. Rebuild slow, Nicholas said, hand finally finding Tyler's. Like a city after quake. Tyler nodded, dimple flashing. I'm in, bricks and all. San Francisco welcomed them with a heat wave, uncharacteristic sun baking the Castro gold. The apartment waited, dust motes settled, suitcase sentinel. Tyler moved in tentatively, his drafting table in the corner, curls catching lamplight as he worked. Nicholas resumed the series, now reclaimed narratives, packing houses with stories of second acts. One reader, a trans man named Javier, shared, "Betrayal broke me open. Now light pours through." Nicholas teared up, Tyler's thumb brushing his in the front row. A quiet anchor. But harmony's fragile as fog. Mark resurfaced via a cease and desist. Tyler's designs stolen for the startup. Claims bogus but litigious. Panic flared. Tyler's freelance teetered. Bills mounting like storm clouds. "We fight it," Nicholas insisted, channeling Grandma's outlaw spirit. They lawyered up pro bono through a queer legal aid, picketing the startup's office with signs, "Art ain't appropriated. It's ours." Media sniffed the drama. A Bay Area reporter interviewing them on livestream. "From heartbreak to headline your story?" Tyler quipped. "Loves the plot twist." Climax crested at the hearing. A stuffy courthouse in Civic Center, air thick with fluorescent hum. Mark testified slick, suit starched, painting Tyler as opportunist. Nicholas watched from the gallery, heart pounding, letters in his briefcase like talismans. Tyler's turn, voice steady. He recounted the coercion. Emails entered as evidence. The anonymous sender revealed as a mutual ex-friend. Vengeful but vindicating. The judge ruled swift. Designs returned. Sanctions on Mark. Outside, paparazzi flashbulbed. But Tyler pulled Nicholas into an alley kiss. Raw and triumphant. "We won," he breathed. "Us against the world." Yet victory's afterglow dimmed with a call from Chicago. Mom's relapse. Graver. Nicholas flew solo this time. Tyler's, "I'll hold the fort," a promise laced with unspoken fear. The hospital was colder. Monitors a dirge. Mom, lucid in morphine haze, gripped his hand. "Forgive them, Nicky. And yourself." She pressed a locket into his palm. Grandma's, with Evelyn's miniature inside. "She'd want you whole." Dad lingered post-visit. Words stumbling. "I was wrong. About everything. Love who you love." A dam broke. Hugs awkward but real. Tears salting the wound shut. Back in the city, Tyler waited with dinner, Grandma's recipe for apple pie, pilfered from a letter. Baked it blind. "Tastes like home," Nicholas laughed. First true since the gavel. They ate on the fire escape, stars pricking the dusk. Suitcase open between them. "To outlaws," Tyler toasted. But as pie crumbs fell, Nicholas's phone buzzed. Tyler's ex-roommate, spilling tea. Mark's stalking hints. A tale on Tyler's freelance meets. Paranoia reignited, but Nicholas breathed deep. "We face it together." The stalking shadow lengthened. Subtle at first. Wrong number calls at odd hours. Tyler's freelance clients ghosting post-pitch. "Coincidence," he insisted. But Nicholas saw the strain, cigarettes chain-smoked on the fire escape. Curls gripped in frustration. They installed a ring cam, its red eye winking from the doorframe. But evidence eluded. Mark's ghost slippery as eel. Nicholas's shifts at the bookstore blurred into advocacy mode. Rita connected them to a support group, Stalked Not Stilled, where survivors swapped war stories over herbal tea in a No Valley co-op. "Document everything," a facilitator urged, her voice a lighthouse in the fog. "And lean on your people." Tyler leaned hard, nights curling into Nicholas like a question mark. Whispers of "I don't deserve you," dissolving into moans that chased demons. Mornings brought resolve, joint therapy sessions via Zoom with a queer counselor named Alex, who unpacked Tyler's abandonment wounds. Mark's control an echo of a father's disdain. Nicholas shared too. Suitcase letters as homework. Grandma's regrets taught me. Don't let fear script your ending. Progress inched. Marked by small rights. A shared journal of gratitudes. Tyler's sketches evolving from fractured hearts to intertwined roots. Family mending flowered unexpectedly. Mom's recovery plateaued. But letters arrived, hers, handwritten on lavender stationery. Proud of your fight, son. Dad's reading that book you sent, Baldwin. Says it's eye-opening. Opening. Nicholas framed the note beside Grandma's, the apartment's walls becoming a gallery of graces. Dad's follow-up call. Gruff, send a check. For your war chest. No strings. The deposit hit, enough for a security system upgrade. Mark's menace tangible now in slashed tires on Tyler's bike outside the gallery. Pride weekend erupted. A cathartic storm. The city pulsed rainbow. Parade floats thundering down Market. Confetti cannons salving old scars. Nicholas and Tyler marched with the bookstore contingent. Banners aloft. Stories unsilenced. Strangers cheered. High fives electric. Tyler hoisted Nicholas onto shoulders for the float wave. Laughter bubbling free. Mark's specter loomed. A sighting at the after-party. Lurking in the crowd's fringe. But security bounced him. His protests drowned in RuPaul anthems. We're unbreakable, Tyler yelled over the bass. Kissing Nicholas amid glitter storms. The Suitcase's spirit cheering from afar. Post-Pride glow sustained them through summer swelter. Tyler landing a steady gig with a queer-owned ad agency. Designs for trans health campaigns. Purpose pulsing in every pixel. Nicholas's series morphed into a podcast. Unpacked Lives. Episodes dropping bi-weekly. Dolores on Lost Loves. Javier on Reinvention. Listeners flooded inboxes. Your voice saved me. Fueling Nicholas's fire. Evenings. They'd cook. Tyler's experimental paella clashing with Nicholas's Midwestern meatloaf. Laughter seasoning the mishaps. Intimacy deepening like roots in clay. But autumn's chill ushered the true tempest. Mark escalated. A brick through the apartment window. Whore scrawled in red marker. Shards glittering like accusations. Police reports filed. Restraining order sought. But bureaucracy dragged like anchors. Tyler spiraled. Freelance faltering under paranoia. Nicholas found him one dawn. Head in hands over unpaid bills. I'm the curse, Tyler muttered. Dragging you down. Nicholas knelt. Letters spilling. Grandma lost Evelyn to less. We fight or fold. They rallied, crowdfunding for legal fees. Agency pitching in with pro bono designs for awareness posters. Stalking steals joy, reclaim yours. The High Court came in a federal building's sterile hush. Mark's lawyer spinning yarns of misunderstanding. But evidence mounted, emails, witness statements from the group. Tyler's therapist notes on emotional abuse. Nicholas testified, voice unwavering. He didn't just take designs, he tried to erase a life. The judge's gavel fell, order granted, fines levied, Mark's empire a notch deflated. Outside, media swarmed, but Tyler shielded Nicholas, hailing a cab through the flashbulge. Heroes, the driver quipped. Tyler laughed, first unburdened in months. Nah. Just us. Healing's path wound crooked. Tyler dove into AA meetings. Controls my drug. Emerging steadier. Amends lists checked off. Nicholas confronted his own shadows in solo therapy. Family forgiveness a process. Not event. The phase label peeling like old paint. Mom visited for Thanksgiving. Flight shaky but smile bright. Dad trailing with a suitcase of his own, Grandma's old records, shipped belated. Over turkey at a Castro diner, awkward toasts clinked. To family, redefined. Dad's eyes met Nicholas's. Nod subtle. She's smiling. Son. Winter blanketed the city in rare snow, flakes dusting the Golden Gate like powdered sugar on gingerbread. They celebrated New Year's on Twin Peaks, champagne popping as fireworks bloomed over the bay. Tyler proposed, not ring, but sketch, 2 figures, suitcased and starlit, intertwined. Marry me? Not today, but someday when we're ready. Nicholas's yes was a sob, bodies warming against the cold, love's heat defiant. Spring bloomed betrayal's final echo. An email from Mark's burner. You win. But watch your back. Panic flickered, but Nicholas forwarded it to lawyers, Tyler's hand steady in his. The threat fizzled, Mark's firm distancing, whispers of internal probes. Closure. Hard won. Settled like dust. Nicholas's podcast hit a milestone. 10K downloads, featuring Grandma's letters, voice acted by Dolores, Evelyn's phantom alive in cadence. Listeners wept in comments. Thank you for unpacking my own suitcase. Yet humanism's core pulsed in the quiet beats. One evening, suitcase emptied onto the bed, letters sorted, photos framed. Tyler traced a faded snapshot of Grandma and Evelyn, arms linked on a pier. She'd approve, he said. Nicholas nodded, heart full. Of us? Hell yes. They donated the suitcase to the bookstore's lending library. Travel with our ancestors. Its latches clicking shut on old chapters. Family reconciliation deepened. Summer barbecue in Chicago. Dad manning the grill with tentative jokes. Mom gifting Nicholas a pride flag for the apartment. Wave it high. Tyler charmed. Sketching portraits. Bridges built over potato salad. Back west, they adopted a rescue mutt. Rusty, all wiry fur and wagging defiance. Nights now trio tangled. Love's pack expanded. Climax's shadow lifted, but growth's drama lingered in microbursts. Tyler's agency promotion clashing with Nicholas's touring podcast gigs. Arguments over time zones dissolving in makeup calls. We're learning, Tyler said post one spat, over video from a bookstore in Portland. Love's not static, it's seismic, Nicholas agreed, the distance sharpening gratitude. Mid-year, a curveball, Nicholas's novel pitch accepted, Suitcase Sonatas, weaving Grandma's letters into fiction. Agent buzzed, raw, romantic, America's queer heart. Tyler celebrated with a mural on their bedroom wall. Golden Gate etched in lovers' silhouettes. Your story, immortalized, but the true apex brewed in vulnerability's forge. Tyler's past resurfaced. Not Mark, but a sibling call. Estranged brother, dying of complications from a life unlived, begging reconciliation. Tyler flew east, Nicholas funding the ticket from book advance. Return brought Tyler hollowed, but healing, he said sorry. For everything, they mourned together, scattering symbolic ashes in the bay, waves whispering absolution. Humanism wove through threads of community. Bookstore fundraisers for homeless queer youth. Tyler's designs pro bono for shelters. Nicholas mentored a writing circle, voices like his own raw, resilient, blooming under guidance. You're paying Grandma's love forward, Tyler said, pride gleaming. Summer's end. They honeymooned early, road trip up Highway 1. Big Sur's cliffs a dramatic backdrop. Stops at diners with pie slices big as hopes. Nights in motels with ocean roar lullabies. At Pfeiffer Beach, purple sands underfoot. Tyler knelt again. Ring this time. Simple silver band etched with outlaws forever. Now, Nicholas laughed through tears. Now, wedding whispers rippled through the Castro like fog off the bay, small. They decided. Just kin and chosen family in the apartment's bay-windowed glow. Invites handwritten on recycled paper, scented with lavender like grandma's notes. Rita officiating in a suit sharp as her wit. Dolores DJing Coltrane vinyls. Javier baking a cake tiered in rainbow fondant. Mom and Dad flew in, Dad's mustache twitching less. Mom's eyes misty as she pinned a corsage. Evelyn's locket on a chain, passed down. For luck, she said, hugging Tyler fierce. Welcome, son. The ceremony unfolded at dusk. String lights twinkling like captured stars. Rusty the ring-bearer in a bow tie comically askew. Vows poured raw. Nicholas's voice steady. You unpacked my fears. Tyler, letter by letter, scar by scar. Tyler's gravel velvet. I was adrift till your horizon called. Together, we're the map. Rings slid on. Simple bands catching the light. And the kiss, deep, unhurried, drew whoops from the crowd. Confetti of torn book pages fluttering like liberated words. Reception spilled onto the fire escape. City hum a symphony below. Toasts clinked. Rita's body. May your fights be fiery and your makeup's molten. Dad's gruff. To love that endures, like your grands. Tyler's brother, reconciled in final days, sent a video blessing. His frail smile a ghost but grace. Cake cut. First dance to At Last. Etta James' soul wrapping them close. Bodies swaying. Whispers of forever. Honeymoon proper followed. Train to Seattle. Echoing Nicholas's arrival. But now with Tyler's head on his shoulder. Suitcase retired to storage. Its lessons internalized. Rain-slicked markets. Ferry rides to islands green as hope. Nights in cabins with fire crackle and skin's warmth. This is the life she dreamed for us, Nicholas murmured, tracing Tyler's freckles. Tyler grinned, dimple deep, and we're living it loud. Return brought expansion. Nicholas's novel launched to acclaim. Suitcase sonatas climbing indie lists. Readings packing houses from LA to NYC. Tyler's agency grew, branching into social justice graphics, posters for trans rights marches, bold lines echoing his and Nicholas's arc. They bought a fixer-upper in the Mission Victorian splinter with a garden patch for tomatoes, symbol of roots dug deep. Conflicts arose. Human scale. Nicholas's touring strains. Tyler's deadlines clashing. Arguments over undone dishes escalating to, are we drifting? Nights. Therapy sustained. Alex's sessions a compass. Growth isn't linear. It's a spiral, deeper each turn. They recommitted with date nights, picnics in the Presidio, hikes where hands linked like lifelines. Family wove tighter. Annual Chicago visits. Dad volunteering at a local LGBTQ center. Keeps me honest, he'd grunt. Mom knitting pride scarves. Shipping batches west. Aunt Karen softened. A grudging email. Saw your book. Made me think. Betrayal's echo faded. Replaced by bridge building. Climax revisited in subtler storms. A novel sequel deadline crunching against Tyler's gallery show. Exhaustion birthing a blowout. Accusations of neglect. Tears salting the kitchenette. I need you. Not the myth, Nicholas hurled. Tyler recoiled. Then reached. Then let's myth bust vacation. Now, they fled to Tahoe. cabin snowbound, no Wi-Fi's tyranny. Days cross-country skiing, trails crunching under boots, nights by hearth, truths unpacked like embers. We're human, not heroes, Tyler admitted. But damn, we're good at this love thing. Emerging renewed. They channeled it, co-authoring a graphic memoir, Outlaw Hearts, a queer roadmap, Tyler's art intertwining Nicholas's prose, pages flipping from flatland funerals to fog-kissed piers. Launch at the bound word, shelves groaning under stacks. Rita beaming, you too? Legends in the making. Humanism bloomed in mentorship. Nicholas's writing circle birthing published voices. Tyler guest lecturing at art schools on designing resilience. They fostered Rusty with a shelter program. Home a revolving door of wagging tails and second chances. Years layered like fog strata. A decade on. Gray threading Tyler's curls. Laugh lines etching Nicholas's eyes. They stood on that San Francisco pier. Anniversary rite suitcase long donated. But its spirit etched eternal. Rusty, grizzled, sniffed the waves. Behind, their daughter, adopted at 5. Now teen with Tyler's dimple and Nicholas's fire. Snapped photos, rolling eyes at their PDA. Gross. Dads. Mom passed gently. 90s claimed. Dad following suit months later. Bedside goodbyes laced with I love you. Son. No phases left. Estate settled fair. Furniture returned. Grandma's dresser. Oak warm in their bedroom. Drawers stuffed with letters new. Their daughter's drawings. Tyler's sketches. Betrayal's scar tissue toughened them, turning pain to purpose. Mark, footnote, reformed in therapy whispers. An anonymous donor to queer causes, redemption's quiet arc. Tyler's brother gone, but legacy lived in scholarships they funded. For the unlived lives, ending unfolded not in thunder, but whisper. A quiet evening. Fire escape perch. City lights winking approval. Nicholas leaned into Tyler, head on shoulder. Worth the suitcase? Tyler's arm tightened. Voice rumble soft. Every latch. Every letter. You, Nicholas smiled. Fog curling like embrace. Opened worlds. And you, in the humanism of it all, love's dramatic weave of fracture and mend. Emotions tide pulling to deeper shores. They found not perfection, but profundity. Outlaws no more, but elders now, passing the key, to dream, to dare, to love without apology. The city sighed content, waves lapping eternal, hearts beating in defiant rhythm.